Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are returning to a strategic bomber run in Hearts of Iron 4, where we want to find out just how good is that weapon in Hearts of Iron 4. We don't know yet. Actually, I haven't tried that out before, so this is really sort of as you go, sort of on-the-fly development here. So, you know what, let's actually develop a group of naval bombers here, which we are going to ask to train up a little bit as well. I think that's great. Yeah, there we go, and you just stay time, please. There we go. So before we continue the game, let's actually check the research here. So we've just researched artillery pieces. So one of the first things that we probably want to do here is just switch out this to the new way of artillery. That's fine. We could go for the new research, but I do think very soon we're gonna have radar here. So let's wait a moment here until we've done that. So that's fine. And then what indeed we are going to do is go to engineering and research. This is just going to take just a couple of days, so that's going to be fine and lovely. So that does settle all of this area over here. Now we could go for the gas masks. And I think that might be... It would certainly fit in with the narrative that we are building up here in that we are talking about air warfare. So the other item would of course be air rearmament. I don't think it's that crucial because we don't really... can make use of any of these bonuses here. This is mostly 1940s technology, so I think that's not quite required. So you know what, let's actually go for the gas max here, because as we've talked about last time, 1938, which is still the year that we're playing here, is the year when that panic happened in London during the Munich conference, and people were streaming out on the streets trying to get away from the city as they were expecting German bombers to come in and really flatten the city in a way. So that is, of course, not ultimately what happened historically. So now it's 1938. We are researching this, okay. So that's alright-ish. We could go with the better anti-air stuff. Not really required at this moment. Land doctrine, that is definitely something that is to be considered here. And nevertheless, I do think what we probably want to do first is actually grab a couple of these things here in terms of industry. Could go for engineering, but it's so far ahead of time it would hurt us quite a bit, I think. So let's actually consider this briefly. So on the Blenheims we are actually maxed out in our production efficiency. So you know what, I actually probably want to dial this down here a little bit and then just make sure that the next couple of factories are going to go to the Blenheims. So to our long range fighters. We are shy on infantry equipment quite a bit, so maybe 3 production lines are not quite enough, so maybe let's go down up 1 here, and you know what, I think we are going to go down 1 on the support equipment here, so produce a little bit more rifles. There we go. Now we can shift it like that, and I think that's fine. We have quite a couple of sharks here, Nimrods. These are a little bit too many, I think, actually, so we might dial down on the production of these for a moment. It's a single factory line, but you know what, I do think we want to cut down on that so that we are actually increasing the production efficiency here a little bit, so that's nice. Right, so that dealt with that. So yeah, let's think about the industry. I think, well, this would be fantastic. 15% plus factory output is very nice, but also construction is going to be super useful. So yeah, let's go for construction here, and then we're going to do the other things as we go. Right. So, Panic of 1938, so this is now shifting a little bit. The civilian population in 1939, someone comes closer to grasp with reality. They're not necessarily extremely confident yet, and there's still a lot of debate ranging around exactly what we could do. And you know what, I think the advanced machinery tools here might be a little bit better, so that the production efficiency cap is being used a little bit more effectively. But there we go, you know what, we can basically research all of these things here at the same time, and that's fine. Do we need anything in terms of industrial content? No, we do have that, so that's fine. Yeah, I don't think we need any of this. Let's do upgrade our rifles, of course, so that's going to be alright. There we go, nice. No enemy ciphers being decrypted. Of course, we should try to reveal the cipher here of Germany. That's going to take a long time. So let's actually check on the military agency over here. Are we building up anything? Yeah, we are doing that. Okay, that's fine then. Good. Yeah, so we are now issuing gas masks, and that has maybe one of the effects of slowing down the German advance. Ooh, and we do have a new operative slot here as well. Anyone who's particularly good? I mean, you do have at least one ability here. And what? Let's pick you there. And you likewise are going to build up the network here in Germany. And radio interception group is nice as well. You know what? Let's actually get you to Brandenburg. That's fine. Good. And in terms of intelligence, this is going to be a lot faster now. I don't think we need to build it up very aggressively. But maybe, just maybe, a little bit more here would be lovely indeed. Don't think any of the other items are that useful for us. Commander training might be nice, but honestly, next level, it's only going to be a relatively small effect, but I think it would be good if we had that before the Germans come knocking. So yeah, let's go ahead with that, and that's fine. A couple of more days until we've infiltrated the civilian administration, and one of the nice things, of course, is that we now know a little bit about the disposition of their factories and all of that, and that will help our bombing campaign, I'm sure. There's a wealth of history on British agents in Germany and the actual effectiveness. We could go for logistical bombing now. How long would that take? 184 days. That would be another 184 days. I would love to get this here before the war, but even if we spent that, it's somewhat unlikely, and it would cost us a lot of experience. Nevertheless, if we could do both of these things here very quickly, I think that would be fantastic. Let's spend that. I think that's going to be important, that we have some early effects here. Let's go for the next level of radar. It's going to be very much ahead of time, but I do think it's going to be useful in that we can build up our naval stuff around this new level here as well. So yeah, and since we do have the bonus, I think that's also going to be okay. We're going to build more radar installations down here, or at least a high level of radar installations down here in Sussex. You guys are finishing that up. That's fine and everything, but you know, maybe let's dial down on this so that you're actually then continuing to build the infrastructure there, and that's fine. Yeah, let's wait a while here, and that should be okay. Right, and let's also check on the naval stuff here. I think most of you guys have more or less finished your training. Yeah, well, at the very least, you know what, you guys can sort of pause here for a second, and that's okay. Yeah, you don't really need to train that much more. Yeah, we might as well just put you into that training group. You guys are training up, that's okay. You guys again can go over here. So all of that is pretty much fine, yeah. And radio interception group, that's it. We're not going to build that much further up, because I do want to get to the building up of further military factories. We really need that, I think, so that's going to be okay. Right, intelligence agency, have you done your job there? I think you have, so that's nice. Let's continue building up the intel network then in sort of Germany, all over the place. I think that's fine. And here we are, issue gas masks, and that's okay. So one of the surprising things then, as we are getting closer to war, is that the closer we are actually to war, the more likely war is going to break out, the less of panic there seems to be. So at some point really, we could get this for the air experience, and that would allow us to research that a little bit faster later on. You know what, let's do that. And it becomes just, the civilian population seems to be a little bit more consigned to the idea of that war happening, and even though of course they still fear it, and are of course quite right to fear that, they are starting to feel that just maybe it's not going to be, their resolve strengthens. So they see that, oh, I think that was just a boost to our stability, wasn't it? You know what, I think we could potentially go ahead and give refuge to German scientists here. We do have the political power, I think, to do that, so that might be nice and dandy. It's going to reduce our stability a little bit, but it's also going to increase our research speed by another 5%, and that's nice. Yeah, it's also going to give us more power here in logistical bombing, so that's all going to improve very much, so that's very nice. Now the other question, what we could do is we could go for partial mobilization at this point. The only issue I have is that would waste some political power, but it would be a small increase here. Now we are expecting, of course, that in about, let's call that 5 months, the Germans are gonna be able to go for total mobilization here. So that just might not be super useful at this point, and we might want to save up on the political power here to do a couple of other things. Now, rubber, well, we could use some more rubber, I suppose. In Nigeria. I think we are actually buying rubber, aren't we? And we do need to buy a little bit more aluminium. Aluminium is going to be one of the things that we are extremely shy on, so let's actually ask Norway here for a little bit of aluminium. Rubber, we are buying a lot from British Malaya, so I don't necessarily think we do need that, so that's fine. Nation building is all lovely in that, but yeah, really, don't think it's that really required. So really the big question is, do we want to go for partial mobilization here? Yeah, you know what, let's go for it. Does give us a little bit more in oil and all of that. Still, we do have quite a bit of a reserve of political power, so I think that's going to be okay to do that over here. Although we... Ooh, fate of Czechoslovakia, there we go. Big boost in world tension over here. And Italy is also becoming more aggressive in Albania. So, again, it's at this point that the British public really decides that it's probably not quite payback time. But at the very least... there's no hope for peace, and they basically consign to the idea that I think we do want to have, we definitely probably want to have the air superiority guy. There's no other real good air thing. Interception is nice and everything, but we do want to go on the offensive, so this is something that I do want to have in the intermediate time, so let's go for that, and very soon, yeah, I think we will have some other capabilities. And probably as the war starts, we'll have another 150 points to change things around. So that's nice. You guys are still shifting around, that's okay. We do have very little in terms of infantry equipment, so we do need to be mindful about that. You guys can start to be in southwestern England, let's say, and I very much would like you gentlemen to be part of this front line down there, so that should deal with that, and that's fine. Good. I don't think there's any sort of promotions that I could do with you. Well, that's not quite true. You can get a promotion, so let's see what that is. Guerrilla fighter, entrenchment speed. Yeah, why not? We're probably going to be on the defensive quite a while here. So, concentrated industry done. We are researching these things. That's nice. Fuel refining would be very lovely indeed. We are going to use a lot of fuel for our bomber fleet, I suppose, so... that is something that we could use. Naval doctrine, we are a little bit behind there, so that might be something that we probably want to consider. Anti-air stuff, I mean, thematically it would be extremely fitting, but I don't think we necessarily need that right now. So, fuel refining, very helpful. Very helpful indeed. The other naval items that I would like to get is an improved torpedo launcher. Yeah, let's go for that. I think that might be incorporated in some of our designs. And you know what? Indeed, over here we're going to go for the fuel refining, and that's going to be a very nice boost over here. Construction's also going to be done, so that's lovely. Let's go for excavation then. That should give us a little bit more in terms of resources, especially aluminium, which again we are very, very shy on. So that's nice. Do we actually need to trade for that then? Yeah, we still do. But it's all okay. Air rearmament done. Nice. I do think we probably want to go for, well, either strategic bombers directly or actually fighter command, because we do need better heavy fighters as well. Definitely one of the big reasons in World War II was that fighters were very much required to accompany bombers, which again is somewhat detrimental to the pre-war thinking. Pre-war, people thought that the bomber will not only get through by itself, but that it could defend itself very well on its own if it was flying in very tight boxes. And it's something that almost happened very late in the war, But really that wasn't the case early on in the war. Early on in the war it was very much apparent that the bomber would not get through in and of its own. Famously so in some of the very early, you know what, this needs to be prioritized. Very famously so in some of the early raids. We now have the benefit of hindsight, so we're going to use that of course to our advantage. But yeah, at the time it really wasn't apparent. So it is May. If we are going for 108 days, that might just come into play as we are entering World War II. So yeah, let's go for that. I think that's okay. 10 more days over here, that's okay too. And in terms of intelligence agencies, you can do a couple of operations, I suppose. Why can we not? We can. Okay, that's fine. Then let's actually do that. You, and you know what, let's pick you. And let's commence that when ready, so that's fine. Yeah, we definitely do want to know about their Air Force. It just fits thematically, right? Cinematic radar done, lovely. Can we go for this one? It's going to be 170 days. Still... Oh, and it's not going to be any benefit to ships, so that's very important because that will allow us to redesign our ships right now. And we don't necessarily need to wait for this. Anything over here is fine, we don't necessarily want that, so that's okay. Over here everything is okay. Artillery, you know what, let's go for the anti-air upgrade. I think that just makes quite a bit of sense to do that as we are feeling that war grows closer to us. Let's go ahead for the radar installation down here in Sussex though. I think still that's going to be hugely relevant. Let's make sure that we are prioritizing that. Good. Yeah, I like it. The other questions is, let's look at the Navy here. So everyone is fine. You've got basically your training done, so let's re-merge you on these guys. That's fine there. You guys are looking a little bit weird, you know. So let's actually shuffle a couple of these ships around here so that it's a little bit more balanced, and that's fine. You guys are okay, I think. And that's okay too. Let's basically look briefly at our aircraft over here as well. So we've got about 60 fighters here. Let's grab one of you, number 800 Air Squadron, and let's, can we send it to the first carrier fleet here? We can. So you've transferred to here, that's fine then. And you're both on Courageous, that's fine. Okay, so we've got about a third fighters. That's fine. Let's grab one of you then, and one of you. Let's bring him down here as well. So you're going to probably be on Glorious. Yeah, that's fine. And that means all of you guys here, you've very well trained up. You can all go over here to number 2 squadron. And that should be okay too. And then look at our logistics as we are looking at the year it's mid-1939. So at that point we do still have quite a couple of strategic bombers here. So 600 that already. So that's fantastic to see. And let's find at least 2 more squadrons over here that we are sort of gradually going to build up. And we're going to ask all of you here to do some training. And we're going to ask you to be expanded as time goes by to groups of 200 really. So don't think we're going to be able to fill all of these guys here with appropriate capabilities. But you know what? I think that's fine more or less. We definitely don't have enough fighters though. Still 500 that we've got in reserve, so that's very nice. Let's find a couple more groups over here, so that's okay. Yeah, and you guys just during the day do train up, please. That's fine. So that basically settles all of you guys. And then let's go over here and found at least I would say 2 more groups here. And again, we're just going to ask them to expand over time. And in the meantime, they can already train up during the day, just because I don't want to have too many accidents. Right, so that's perfectly lovely over here. Fighter command is almost done, 40 days, and some of these things are going to take a little bit longer. That's okay. Italy joins the Axis. That is of course truly worrying. And there's the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, and now things are starting to be a lot more serious. So big question is, what are we going to do just sort of immediately? And one of the items that I think we could think about is of course Italy. For now it seems like we're doing fine over here. I suspect that we might be a little bit shy on resources down here in Africa. Nevertheless, I think if we can make some progress over here, I think we're going to be fine over there. We do have some defenses in Gibraltar and Malta. It's not going to be sufficient to fight off any meaningful attack, but that's okay. Our home ports are guarded by these guys here. They're not very formidable, but they are there, so that's nice. And we've got an entire army group, an entire army over here. Now, we could bring these guys here to France and fight them off a little bit at least. And you know what, it might spice things up a little bit. They're definitely not great, but it would allow us to gain some army experience. It's not going to be the most important thing, but you know what, let's at least put you guys over here sort of on at least sort of the... We're going to only fight a token defense over here. I don't really want to stop the AI because I want to find out just how good our army experience is going to be. Our air experience is going to be, but at least, you know what, gain some experience here. That's going to be okay. Right, insufficient resources. Aluminium, as always, is the thing that we are shy on. So let's ask the Norwegians here, support them a little bit. I think that's okay. We could modify the government. We're going to leave that for the total mobilization here once we've come to that place. But for now, all of this looks fine. Recruiting a couple more divisions here, especially for the African theatre. That's okay. It's going to only be one more. We do have some infantry equipment left here, so that's nice. Strategic bombers, we are shy on. Naval bombers, that's okay. Tactical bombers, that's okay too. Heavy fighters, yeah, that's all looking pretty nice. And actually, we wanted to check out the Navy, so yeah, let's have a look at the Navy over here. So we've got basically 4 fleets set up. This is the submarine fleet. Not going to be very exciting. It's just going to be submarines. And then we've got some anti-submarine warfare fleets. We've got a lot of these guys because of course we expect the Germans to be coming up with a lot of things like that. The more important ones are going to be these 2 fleets. So we've got the carrier fleet over here, commanded by James Founds... What's her name actually? James Founds Somerville, who is an aviation enthusiast, so that's I think quite fitting. We've got 2 fleets. We've got the first one here with Glorious and Courageous, converted battleship hulls, still capable of at least flying about 120 aircraft between the 2 of them, and accompanied by the battle cruisers because they are fast enough. 31 knots over here, 31 knots over here, so that's very promising. These guys here are accompanied by our most modern destroyers of class 2, both because they are a little bit fast. Do remember though that they are counting as a small hull, so they might be getting some debuffs. Still quite a fast setup, I think. And then we've got the second carrier flotilla over here with Ark Royal, so the first purpose-built carrier here, and Furious, another Courageous class carrier, simply because that does match up, and with the fast battleships Nelson and Rodney. So these guys not quite as fast, only 27 knots, but still quite capable. And these guys are accompanied by light cruisers, so that's fine. Then we've got the home fleet. These are really the old battleship hulls, very much slower, 24 knots down here, so these aren't quite as good. They are accompanied by older types of destroyers. Still, the AB class are the ones that do at least have some... Oh, I thought they would have some anti-air. Well, they don't. Well, too bad. Nevertheless, they also got some of the older aircraft carriers over here. And I do realize that you're not using your guys over here correctly, right? So you've got more space, even though it's just a little bit. And you know what, let's dial down here a little bit on the naval bombers and bring up the fighters here, because these guys are a little bit more like there to really defend our shipping there. So that's I think perfectly appropriate to be a little bit shy on naval bombers and go more for the fighters, and that's going to be fine. Good, yeah, so that's mostly our naval fleets here. We've also got a cruiser fleet and a mine laying group of just a couple of small ships. These are not really that important. Nevertheless, I think we should look at some upgrades over here, especially to, let's say, our more capital ships. And let's... Now, I don't think it's going to be important on the carriers themselves, but at least let's say HMS Hood. So you're an Admiral class. We don't really have that many of that, so maybe it's not worthwhile to pay for that. We've got the Queen Elizabeth class and we've got the Revenge class. Now let's compare both of these. So that's you, and then we've got the Queen Elizabeth class. Like ship designer can only get open once, but that's okay. So basically the big difference here is what really? Can't really spot that much difference between these two. Okay, so you've just got the airplane here, which honestly is not that important on battleships. So nevertheless, let's do take that design. Let's do put a radar on that so that it has slightly better attack. Let's do replace the secondary battery here with one that is going to give you a lot more AA and some better anti-light shipping. But the AA one is the one that I do care about. Probably want to upgrade the AA itself. It's not going to be that expensive. Not going to touch any of that. The fire control, we might want to put an upgrade to you as well. It's only a small piece, but still it's going to be fine, I think. And over here, do we want to put more AA on you? I think it is important, simply because we are kind of afraid of what's going on there. And likewise over here, we're going to replace the secondary battery. All of this is going to bring down our speed, but it's going to bring up our light attack significantly, our heavy attack just a tiny scooch, but most importantly, it's going to give us some AA capability. So I think, yeah, I think this is fine. And this is the BB Mod 1. We're going to save that, and that's fine there. So let's actually grab the Queen Elizabeth classes here, and we are going to reship these ships to some design that I have listed somewhere over here. Yeah, these guys. Curious to see what exactly are you? Why are you so different? Huh, weird. Oh yeah, you've got different engines here there. Yeah, don't think different engines are going to be that useful. 84 days to complete, but of course only if we are devoting like all the things that we have to that, which probably we cannot, so that's going to be okay. But let's do prioritize them slightly differently. I think it's fine if we do it like this. You know what? Let's prioritize that over here, and then let's do grab some convoys once you're done with that. You know what? We don't actually want that. We probably want to upgrade further ships there. Gonna take a while for these guys to be upgraded, but then again, we don't expect a naval invasion from Germany like on day one of the war. So yeah, that I think is fine. Full fuel reserves here. That might mean at some point we, you know, I've completely not built any fuel silos. And I don't think they are very useful for us. Nevertheless, let's maybe build one of them. And the reason is we really want to keep up the bombing of Germany as aggressively as we potentially can. So 70 days over there. Infantry equipment not that useful to us, I think. Any of this development not that useful. Military training act not something that we can do yet because war tension is not high enough yet, but it will be at some point. Yeah. Also, surprisingly, aircraft production group is not going to be useful for us because fighter. We are not building fighters, we are building heavy fighters. So let's actually go for bomber command here. That's fine, we're not training anyone, that's okay too, I suppose, even though we have some infantry equipment. These groups are still shy on equipment, so that's okay. And research is going to be done in 13 days here, so that's alright, I suppose. Yeah, it's going to be done very soon here. Two things, really. Well, the improved torpedo launchers are going to be nice and useful. Free military factories, let's devote that to more strategic bombers, because I think just having more of these is going to be super nice. So we've done that. Let's go for... I did have something in mind. Right, engineering, everything seems to be fine. We could go for that. That would be nice. It is almost 1940, so all of that is okay. Yeah, right, exactly. Heavy fighters, that's what we want to do. Let's go for the buff fighter here. It's going to be a nice upgrade, I believe. It's almost tempting to switch out our air designer. It's almost tempting to go for the heavy arm, because it would give us a nice boost to heavy fighters of 20% reliability, which we could use to formulate upgrade plans there. But yeah, not for now. Don't think we want to go for the next level of strategic bombs yet, because that's not quite what we require here, so that's gonna be okay. Could go for better AA here. That might be useful, but it would be a little bit ahead of time. Still 100 days is not the longest time. So you know what, let's actually go for radar, because that will allow us to build more radar installations as well, and that's going to be super useful and very nice indeed. So very much looking forward to the next level of heavy fighters there, and very much looking forward to the next developments here. Poland refuses and German ultimatum, and here we are. Germany declares war on Poland. And you know what, guys? I think this is a perfect place to put in a cut. Next time we're going to talk about the war, we're going to set up our plans here and really going to find out just how well strategic bombers work. Will they put Germany back into the Stone Age, or will they be completely ineffective and a waste of time? Let's find out next time. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Do leave a like and all of that, and I'll see you around next time. Bye bye.